What should we do today? About GPS?
Yeah.
It has been a good road, no? Kind of going up and down what we're doing. But I think we're getting there, getting good. And Cyrus is, I don't know if people know the Cyrus is, maybe you can introduce yourself. Sorry, maybe that's easier. And Ellen, maybe too.
Okay.
Ellen, go
All
ahead.
right. So, hi everybody. I'm Cyrus. I started posting a lot of annoying messages about the Zen um, after I built it. Mostly focusing on the GPS stuff, but I've also done a lot. Just software engineering is my profession. Done a lot with data models and data stores and stuff too. So what I'm trying to do is take a look at the existing data models and see if there's stuff we could do to probably. I mean, I don't know. I don't understand fully all the objectives of what we're doing with the data, but I'm trying to find some ways to maybe uh, make some of the stuff that we're doing a little bit more queryable. And maybe I don't know if we still need Elasticsearch, but maybe if there's something we can do to maybe remove the need for that or do some other work in that area and just kind of make it a little bit more accessible. So and then map that stuff into Grafana so we can make some better charts and graphs. Um, so that's kind of what I'm focusing on at the moment. I definitely want to learn more about the usage of this data and what we need to use it for to make sure that what I'm looking at, what I'm thinking about is focused on where it needs to go. So
Oh, yeah, you're making quite a progress at being honest. I mean, to get the dump code
trying.
for the Postgres, that was already a good one, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm literally just getting done trying to take the dump that's in the format that comes from AWS and put it into a state that I can actually load it into a local Postgres instance, and then maybe pull the JSON out and put that into a Mongo instance, and maybe denormal or normalize it a little bit and kind of start peeling some pieces apart. So yeah.
Mhm. And Ellen, maybe you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi. I'm Al. I go as Alan or Al, whichever suits you. I'm here in Auckland, New Zealand, and I lived in Japan 26 years, and I was with the Safecast after the Fukushima thing happened. I've been playing around with Geiger counters and stuff since way before that, and I kind of hooked up and met Peter and Carlin and then Rob. So met all the guys and started helping them with some of the areas that I had expertise in. I'm an electrician and I also have a background in electronics, and so I actually built the high voltage stages. And then eventually we got to doing our own to replace the iRover, which was the little high voltage power supply used in the bGeigieZen. And so I reverse engineered it and came up with a whole new design that was based around the same design. But because we reverse engineered it, we were able to make something that did the same job. And that's where the safe pulse came from. So it was a lot of work because we had to get everything just right. And as you know, we had some issues, didn't we, Rob? We found we had uh, well, it was double pulsing. It had two pulses instead of one. So I think we've fixed that. We've also added a little timer chip on the latest round. Thanks
That
to
should come up soon. It's in
yeah,
it just finished production and it will come up. I mean, we have to test it out soon.
yeah. So we got so we just you just had a whole bunch made, right, Rob?
Mhm.
And so we're going to test those and make sure they work. Hopefully, touch wood, we won't have any more problems because they're quite small and delicate, and getting them manufactured, they've got to be just right. So we're not experts in mass production. This is just we have to sort of kind of crawl our way through to get them to. And once we've got something that we know works, then we can just get them mass produced, obviously. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's great work what you've done. And also, I remember you made for the food processor, for the food measuring of radiation, you made a special high voltage device for big.
Yes, I did. I made some little high voltage boards for the scintillation. I don't know if you guys are aware of these photomultiplier tubes that are coupled optically to scintillation detectors, and they typically cesium. Well, they're usually sodium iodide with thallium doped, and they emit a light pulse when the gamma hits them. And then this photomultiplier tube has to have typically around 1,000 volts on it, but then it needs to have all these different voltages for the different anodes. And so I built this tiny little set of boards that would work on a just a lithium polymer battery, and run. And the whole thing uses only 10 milliamps, and it will allow you to have a field power supply that would go out in the field that would use very little power. That was the idea of it. But I think people kind of lost interest in it. I finalized it and built 5 prototypes, but we've never really gone anywhere with it, have we, Rob? It's not really. No one's really picked it up. What's the guy's name? Dan. Dan got interested in it at one point. Said he was going to buy them, and but then he never did. So nothing.
Then it's from Metcom. He is he's the person for the iRover, for the inspector.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the introduction. That's nice.
Yeah. No worries.
And we want to introduce ourselves too, like Louis and Michael. Maybe that's easier for Cyrus and Ellen too. Michael first or Louis first?
Yeah. Go ahead, Louis.
Okay, I'll go.
I'm still waking up.
So good morning or good afternoon, evening, whatever the case may be. My name is Louis Bertrand, and I'm retired from teaching at a college. It's basically not quite a university. In the States, they would call it a community college. Teaching for about 20 years, and before that, 20 years in industry in electronics, so manufacturing, some design, some firmware, and an unfortunate trip into IT and IT security, and I'm glad I'm out of that because that's crazy. So yeah, just pretty much all sorts of different things. So retired last year, looking for something to do, and I've always been interested in the SafeCast. I have a bGeigieZen Nano, which I was walking around with for quite a while, and kind of got interested in the next generation, and just started with that SafeCast discussions and support. That mailing list is kind of pulls people in. As it were. And so here I am. So I've started working on the firmware for the Zen, and that wasn't really going nowhere till Yella jumped in and kind of redid everything, and then I sort of started helping with with the GPS, and then of course Michael took over and just ran with it. And I'm just now doing the manual and helping with some of the firmware issues, and talking to people locally about it. We have 2 nuclear power stations in the region, so within a half-hour driving distance. That's it. So
Indeed.
Hey, Michael Beeks. I also retired from IBM, 40 plus years. Background was in physics and engineering. Um, uh, Most notably, our group worked with Ericsson on the development of 5G. That's the most recent work that we did. Um, and been involved a lot with robotics groups and then I found this group. I just got some interest in Geiger counters recently, talking with people at a Connecticut Robotics Society meeting, and came across this group and got involved and really enjoy it.
And shall I introduce myself, or it's not necessary? I can do that quickly. I'm retired for 40 years, and I'm doing all kind of different projects. So that's it. And I live in Nara in the mountains by
Nice.
my cats and my partner. So off-grid and self-supporting as much as possible. And I think health and society are very important things in my life. Mankind and humanity, where we're going to.
Yeah.
And it looks like
Very
Yella
good.
is not coming, so maybe we should start with the issues where we want to talk about.
Do we have a particular agenda on that?
No, we normally have no end. If you
Okay,
want to make
fair.
one, that's wonderful. But we don't have. We have just a general discussion where people are dealing with and discussing the problems they are having
Sure.
and new ideas that come up. That's anything
Okay.
is open at the moment.
Well, let me just thank Michael for putting up with my dumb questions about the code for the GPS.
No, you found bugs. That's
No,
good. That's a good thing.
wonderful. I mean,
Yeah.
you did a good job.
Well, it was fun to get in there because I said before, I'm not a C++ guy, so poking around in there was a lot of it was just education for me as well, and the dumb questions are partially just me trying to understand, how that ecosystem works. Um, but I think it's nice that we're constraining what data is being uploaded based on the dilution of precision. But I'm just kind of wondering if there's some way to actually get more accurate readings. I would think with a device that can uh, talk to multiple constellations, I would think we would be getting better results, not iffier results. And I'm wondering, should we be using a different receiver, a different GPS chip, or I shouldn't say chip, but a different GPS receiver, or if there's something we can do to get better accuracy out of it instead of just filtering out all the inaccurate readings. Because from where I'm sitting right now, I'm hardly uploading anything because the accuracy is so far off where I am. I'm about 53 degrees north. I'm in Dublin, so that's a little. I don't know if that has any effect on it, but I seem to be getting a lot of readings that are. It looks like to me like it's what it's reading through is that it's getting some refraction from the stone structure because most stuff here is stone. That's throwing off the signal, so it seems like I'm actually located further away from where I am as the beam comes through the building. I'm thinking, I don't know. Um, it just seems like I'm having a lot of issues with consistency with the chip. I'm wondering if there's anything we know about the receiver that we could do to make it more accurate somehow. I mean, I know you're kind of talking about allowing it to be set by region. I'm curious as to how that's going to go. I'm curious if there's any other things that we might be looking at for that.
I think what we're dealing with is an antenna issue, especially when trying to get a signal indoors. Um, I, I don't know. I haven't researched other modules that are out there, so I can't say whether any other hardware is involved would get us something. One of the things, have you looked at the uBlocks forum itself?
No, I've not looked in the forum. No.
Yeah, it's very interesting. There's a few people on there that are very knowledgeable about these particular modules and how they work. And basically, I had mentioned this in one of the posts that you can go down the rabbit hole of trying to tweak these settings, but there's been a lot of work went into them. And one of the things you'll find in uBlock's forum is they're dealing with corporations that have fleets of vehicles that they're trying to keep track of, accurately keep track of, and all the issues associated with accuracy in parking garages and in urban environments. And they have all of these same reflection issues and they have, mitigation methods that they do, especially first fix when somebody goes into a vehicle, starts it up, and heads out. They literally will hand them a fix on their way out of a parking garage that is, RF shielded, things like that. Or, so I tend to dive into that area, but these antenna issues are, are really the biggest issue, or probably the biggest thing that's leading to these inaccuracies,
Is it
as far as I know.
the physical size of it, or is it what is about the antenna issue?
Well, it's about the environment that it's in, and reflections do happen, and it affects timing, and it affects it affects that whole algorithm that goes into that, which is all shielded. That there's a certain amount of this that is brickwalled from us. For example, positional degree of precision. I'd love to know what's in that. I had mentioned in a recent post that maybe instead of using the positional degree of precision, we should be using the horizontal accuracy estimate as our guide for throwing away data. That's also available in the PVT packet, and so that might be something we could just take a look at.
Mm-hmm. You want to take a look yourself, Michael, first, or because I think Cyrus is also doing other things.
Well, yeah, I have already have a couple of recorded. So you have to look at the raw data, because that horizontal accuracy estimate is not recorded in the log file as far as I know. So I could take a look at that and compare that with the positional with PDOP to see which is a better estimate for accuracy.
Isn't there a packet that has like a bunch of the different kinds of dilutions of precision? There's like a GDOP and a PDOP.
The degree of precision packet, yeah.
Yeah. But you're saying you can get that out of the PVT though. You don't need to go get that.
Right. They give you horizontal and vertical degree of precision. Horizontal and vertical accuracy estimates, and then the positional degree of precision, which is basically a global, an aggregate of that and whatever else that's going on. And they also give a time accuracy estimate, which again, that's affected by satellite reception,
Right.
especially satellites that are low on the horizon.
Yeah, I think fundamentally, I think Cyrus, you happen to be in a good location for stress testing these devices. Because first of all, you're fairly high in latitude. You've got a built-up area, and I keep coming back to my pet hypothesis that your receiver is trying to get assistance, or what they call an augmentation system, from the geostationary satellite that's over the Americas. So you're far enough west that you might be able to see that satellite at a very oblique angle, and the timing signal is going to get distorted by a long travel through the ionosphere.
Yeah, it's thicker,
So the
thicker
idea,
atmosphere, yeah.
well, it's thicker atmosphere, and and there's more variations. Plus, being at the high latitude, you're probably closer to the poles, where we know there's all sorts of crazy magnetic effects going on. So it's a mess. Long story short, when we're talking about regional, one of the things I'd like to try is just to shut off SBAS, which is the GPS, the American augmentation system, and also turn on, make sure that GLONASS is turned on. Why that's important is that GLONASS, being a Russian system, they're a northern country, and their orbits are a little bit higher in inclination. So that's going to give us a little bit of an advantage. And of course, you've got the Galileo designed for the European space, but that's so that's various things I'd like to try, and
Sure.
I'm not too sure.
I mean, we can. I mean,
go
I've certainly turned SBAS off, but I know that you can also tell it to look for for validation, or look for that stuff for other regions too, like Europe or Asia or other stuff, using those other systems. Um, so I wouldn't want to just knock it off if it causes problems. Might be able to get something better out of it. But yeah, we can certainly turn on everything but SBAS and see what we can come up with. I know there's some systems, like I think the Chinese system and some other systems, can't work at the same time. We'll get that figured out. But yeah, sure.
But maybe, Michael, maybe
Yeah.
if you can make a spreadsheet where we can put all the data in, what we are collecting and how we set up. Do you want to do that? So we can all share this data. So we have a standard set. So, and then we switch up this, and then the result is this. Something like that.
Right. First thing I was going to put together, and I struggled, I haven't had enough time recently, is to just create a calibration or a calibration tool that will go through individual GNSS and just log from a cold start, time to first fix, number of satellites, and over a period of about 15 minutes, and then switch to the next one, and just keep going through each of the GNSS separately, and see if that gives us a good indication of what satellites we should have enabled. See, Osiris, there is in any of these modules, there is a limit to how many GNSS you can have enabled, or the signals within that GNSS enabled at the same time.
Right.
The device, and you can get at that through the test bed that I put together. The device will not let you put in an invalid configuration. So if you're trying to enable something that it can't enable without disabling something else, it's just going to throw back that you're going to get a return code of 0. And then you have to figure out, you can go back to the documentation and figure out, well, what do I have to disable in order to enable this particular thing?
That would be wonderful to then we can get the results of different region, and then we can figure out what's going on.
Right. And so it would create a detailed log file for that whole calibration process. And then we could look at, we could each run that and then look at, and then that would give us something to compare.
That actually sounds like a really good idea,
Right.
because it's not something you need to run all the time, but we can just get a good set of data points in various environments. That would be great.
So the first part would be just the analysis part, and then we could actually say, all right, have it actually do a calibration and then configure the device optimally for our region.
That's wonderful. That's a great idea, I think. Yeah.
I've been talking about it for a while.
Absolutely.
I've got the framework for it, but it required some restructuring of the test bed.
Yeah.
And I've been constrained on time. Soccer.
Soccer. I'm not too sure it needs to be that fancy. because it's basically we're only going to be using it once, for a short amount of time unless the problem comes back up. So it's probably doesn't have to be super duper fancy. And deploying it, Rob, how hard is it to deploy an image onto the M5 burner so that?
It's very easy. I think you can do it yourself too. I mean, if you want to. I mean, what I
Okay.
normally do is I do a reset. I program the Zen. I do a reset on the settings, and then make a dump, and that's here. So my settings are not in there, but it's the code is only there.
Okay.
And then you put the next time you put the SD card in, reads from the SD card the settings, and it comes back fine.
Okay, very good. All right, that's great. I've been working on the manual, so if anybody gets time to have a look at it, if you see something jumping up at you, just let me know. I'll post a link here. I'm posting it in Slack.
Okay, and I think they're also on the top of Slack or on the canvas. They are the links to the manual and the links to the building manual.
Okay.
Or where?
On the canvas, there's a small canvas somewhere. And normally it's my right top. I click on Slack and the canvas shows up, and then it has all the links on it.
Ah.
Somewhere on the top, on the right side, somewhere.
Oh, canvas. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you can drop anything on if you want to share from
everyone. Oh, look at that.
Canvas. I'm looking for that. Oh, there.
Yeah.
Look at that.
There are all the links, and anybody can put it on, I think. It's very easy to find stuff. And we still have a few minutes
left. I see it now. Okay, thanks.
Still have a few minutes left, and the thing I've been doing is I've been ordering parts for the Zen, and been very busy with trying to get Gravana back. And there is a possibility we can get it back. So Matt and me are working on it. So if that comes back, that feels much better.
Good.
And Alan still want to say something, or
I was playing with my settings. I don't know if it's any better. Is the sound okay?
It
Sounds
good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Right. This computer is used by my son usually, so he does gaming and stuff. I have to take it back occasionally to do my stuff. Wow, it sounds like you guys have got really far ahead on this new version. I'm excited to see what you guys are doing, and I've been looking at your group, and there's a lot going on there. It's very busy. I don't know if there's anything I can help with, but certainly we'll make sure that Safe Pulse works properly.
That's the most important part. If we've had the Safe Pulse, we don't do so much.
Yeah, we're nowhere without that.
But the next, maybe if you, Alan, I don't know your time wise, but if next time when I let a board made, I will first let you look at it, because sometimes I make mistakes and I don't see them.
Right. Yeah.
To the new board, and then I prefer to have a second look at it before I send them out. Louis is also very busy.
Well, it's very stressful if we order like 15 or 20 and then there's a fault with them, and then we have to go and muck around. That's not good. So yeah,
that's for the Safe Pulse. It's because we do the assembly too. But if it's for an Zen board, we don't do any assembly. It's just a simple board. It's only a few glass, so it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, Rob, I've been looking at the design rule checker in KiCad. It's not that crazy, and I think I've got it as a to-do. I'm just going to go and run it, and with your cooperation, permission, and
No, you
assistance,
already have that cooperation permission. So you
to
don't-
do. I might just sort of sit down and sort of zone in and do a scrub of that design. I can get quite fussy when it comes to making circuit board designs.
Yes, I know. But that's good. It's good to be
Yeah,
thinking about those things.
the design rule check is throwing up a lot of errors and warnings because of the little what do you call that, where they show the little the landing, sort of the lands where it shows the
Yeah, the
outline.
lands, the footprints. Yeah.
Yeah, they tend to overlap and stuff like that. So
But you
Yeah,
can
well,
think
that's it.
you will do that part if you want to.
yeah,
Well, I think it's a case of more of I don't like disabling features like that, but you just selectively ignore them.
yeah,
If it's silk screen, then it's cosmetic.
Yeah.
But if it's copper, then then we have an issue.
Yeah.
I agree. So we have 1 more minute to go, and then we should stop it. We have other things quickly we want to say.
No, I'm done.
What's up?
Yeah. Well, what's up for the next week, or some plans?
It's gonna try to get some of that GPS stuff working.
Yes, that's good. That's good.
More manual. I should have a bit more time this week, and I'm just going to redo the pictures to do to match what the screens look like.
Mhm.
And available to help with Alan, available to help with circuit boards. I'm interested in helping also with with getting the material published on maps, so that
that's good.
Cyrus, your effort is very interesting.